Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to yet another session on Hinduism. My name is Nishit Kotak. I'm here with Jay Lakhani. Jay bhai, welcome to today's broadcast.
Thank you, Nishit bhai.
So folks, thank you so much for tuning in. For those of you who are new on the channel today, let me explain briefly how this session works. We meet every Saturday at 2 o'clock UK time, and we spend about 45 minutes on the topic of Hinduism. And the objective is to try and answer any questions that you, the viewers, may be having regarding Hinduism. Now, there are a couple of ways you can interact with us. If you are on YouTube, please consider subscribing to our channel. It's youtube.com/Hindu Academy. And if you're on Facebook, please consider following our page. It's facebook.com/Hindu Academy. Now, the way this broadcast works is that we've got a set of questions which the viewers have posed in the weeks before. So I will start off with that, but I would encourage you to like, share, comment, and in the comments area leave your questions so that we can try and attempt to answer them live on air. So we'll start off with the first question for today, and this is one that a number of viewers have been asking in various ways. For example, we've got one of the viewers, Osiris. He's asking, does God create natural disasters? We've got Karan Rana asking, what is the reason for multiple hands of the deities, including Durga, Vishnu, etc.? So the question is, can we focus on how we can reconcile with God with form and God without form?
Indeed, it's a very interesting exploration. Let's start the journey saying that all world cultures, not even religious, all world cultures, in order to understand reality and come to terms with the world that they faced, had a habit of conjuring up ideas of gods in the heaven or gods in the skies. Every civilization. For example, in the Western European civilization, you see the idea of paganism, looking at nature to try and resolve your condition. In the Greek civilization, you got the ideas of gods related to the sun god, the sea god, etc. So, and in Hindu tradition also, we had this idea of Indra and Agni and Varun. So we all were trying, the earliest ideas of God were really trying to personify the forces of nature so that we can build relationship with nature. And one of the biggest problems ancient human beings had was rain. So for example, in the Central American republics, you see this idea that if the rain fails, they will offer not only animal sacrifice to please the god of rain, they would in fact pull out the heart of a living human being and offer it to this ultimate, this god is a rain god to get rain. So this kind of thing used to happen throughout all world civilizations, including Hinduism. So we also had Agni and Vayu and Varun and Indra and so on as different forms of gods that we kind of in a way in charge of forces of nature. This is how it started. This is how the journey started. But in no time, this journey actually, in India especially, moved on. So this idea of, for example, appeasing Indra to get rain, that was standard practice in the Vedic times. Suddenly we see with the story of Krishna something very interesting. People don't realize this Govardhan Puja that we do is in fact the first transition from the idea of God as Supreme Personality giving us rain called Indra to the idea of empowering human beings. This is the story of Govardhan Mountain. Because what happened is this is colorful storytelling. They said Indra was not pleased with the people in Vrindavan because they were not anymore worshipping him to get rain. So Indra got very angry, said, I'll throw thunderbolts and rain and drown all the people in Vrindavan. And of course Krishna said, don't worry, I'll lift the mountain. This is the mythological part of the story. And I'll lift the mountain and all of you support me. Stand on your own feet and fight Indra. Stand up against the idea of Indra. So you see the transition of gods as forces of nature personified as Indra, Vayu, Varun, Agni being seen in the story of Krishna, trying to shift emphasis not on these forces of nature but on human beings who sort themselves out. This is the beginning of the journey. So initially all civilizations personify the forces of nature and appease them. Then we see the transition. And for example, in the European civilization, we had the paganistic idea, means worshipping nature. Again, the same idea. And then we had the Christian, enforcement, thereby the paganism was pushed aside and we had Christianity implanted with the idea of God in the heaven as a father figure. Now in the Hindu tradition, it's a very interesting journey. And one of my friends, Trevor Maku, said, please, Mr. Lakhani, explore this. Such an exciting and interesting subject to explore. So let's explore it. So initially the forces of nature being worshipped. And slowly we said, no, that doesn't seem right. So we're kind of focusing on human beings who sort themselves out. Wonderful idea. You see the transition. So not a God in heaven. But the thing is this. So let me just give you a really kind of detailed way of how Hindus classify the idea of ultimate reality. There are three ways that they decided. One is called Nirgun Nirakar. This is the principle of Hinduism that was discovered through the ideas of Kapil, saying our essential nature is different from the world that we encounter. So the idea of Atman and Brahman is considered, both these ideas are considered to be Nirgun Nirakar. They don't have any attributes whatsoever, and they don't have any shape. No shape, no attributes. The very depth of Hindu philosophy started with Kapil. So this idea of looking at our own essential nature as a principle, not as a personality, is the beginning of Nirgun Nirakar Brahman, the idea that is one of the best, kind of most philosophically oriented vision of Hinduism. This is called esoteric Hinduism. And the reason why I'm introducing is this. This is the only way we can relate to serious philosophic challenge that we face. So I'll hang on to this idea of Nirgun Nirakar and then move on. Then we learned the idea, in the Vedic period, especially Dayanand Saraswati promoted this idea, the idea of thinking of ultimate reality without form, so no kind of Indra, Krishna, nobody, without form, but with attributes like Satya is the nature of truth. So the second transition was Nirakar, no shape, but with gun, sagun, with qualities and attributes. Now if you look at it, this is not very different from the Christian idea. Because the Christian idea also said we don't like to focus on these imageries and all that. We like to think God like, if you like, a compassionate person, a truthful person, an all-powerful personality without giving a shape. So they don't like to really give a shape, even though they call him the Father in heaven. So the Abrahamic tradition also focused on the idea of sagun, but nirakar, no images. So this is again visible in the Hindu tradition with, say, Arya Samaj and the Brahmo Samaj. They focus on the idea of sagun, but nirakar, God, ultimate reality. But then the Hindus are very greedy. They like to think of God in many different ways. We love to explore this idea of spirituality. We are masters at it. So then the third idea that we kind of in a way embrace is the idea of Sagun Sakar Ishwar. So this is Brahman idea, Nirgun Nirakar Brahman, but that's kind of boring. How do you relate to it? No attributes, no qualities, no shape, no form. Why do you relate to it? They say we turn the system on its head. Think of Brahman with Sagun and Sakar, both with attributes and with shape. So this is a complete transition. Why do we do that? And it's important for us to recognize why. Not because we vilify it. Human beings have great difficulty in relating to subtle ideas regarding spirituality. And Nirgun Nirakar Brahman may be philosophically very satisfying. I can take on the challenge of Richard Dawkins. But for a common man, it is impossible, almost impossible to relate to the idea of Nirgun Nirakar Brahman. They've heard about it, they see it in the scripture. They can't relate to it. There's no handle. So for an ordinary human being, for a man on the street, the only way they can relate to the idea of spirituality was Sagun Sakar. So this is the third vision. And modern Hindus, majority of modern Hindus relate to Sagun Sakar. So the Sagun Sakar is idea of God with attributes and with shapes. And what shape? Variety of shapes, because we in a way kind of fashion the way we like to think of ultimate reality. So we give different names and forms. So we can think of ultimate reality as Vishnu, as Shiva, as Mother Goddess, as Durga, whatever. So we in a way relate to the ultimate reality using variety of different names and forms, not polytheism, pluralism, many ways to relate to ultimate reality as a personality. This is the way majority Hindus and majority people in the world basically can relate to the idea of religion or being spiritual, because you require this kind of form to hang on to and worship and build relationship with it. And I say, Mr. Lakhani, okay, you've given us three variations of idea of concept of God in Hinduism: Nirgun Nirakar, Nirakar but Sagun, and Sagun Sakar. Fine, nice Sanskrit terms, but how can all be true? Come on, reconcile. It's like a very jagged enterprise and very kind of, in a way, enterprise that is not well reconciled. So let me try and reconcile it for you. Now, you see, the thing that is in a way percolating through our system, looking out through these eyes, is actually, according to the highest Hindu philosophy, it is actually Nirgun Nirakar. But when it manifests in the human form, it begins to show certain attributes. What are the attributes that we see in all living things, all human beings? Things like compassion, things like trying to be knowledgeable, trying to make sense of the world that we live in. And third is being empowered. We don't like to be pushed about, the sign of a living thing. Not on the forces of nature. It wants to harness the forces of nature and sit above them. This is the sign of a living thing. So being empowered. So in a way, these are in a way showing the spiritual underpinning to us is in a way revealing itself is these human attributes, compassion, knowledgeable, empowerment. So far so good. Now this is the magic trick we did. We said in order for this thing that we already possess to become much more enhanced in our own lives, being more compassionate, more truthful, more empowered, let us now project this concept on some external being. It is within us, but it's very difficult to catch what is within you. Oh, what is me? So we took these ideas of compassion, knowledgeable, empowerment, and we multiplied it not 10 times, not 100 times, infinitely. So ideas that we are already showing our spiritual underpinning, we exaggerated them to infinite, and we plonked it on that fellow called Vishnu or Shiva. You are all powerful, all compassionate, all knowledgeable. Wow, 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 wow. So what did we do? What was already there, in a way, trickling out of our system, we exaggerated it and plonked it on this external being called God, Sagun Sakar God. See, all the attributes that we love, we plonked it on him. And we give him the shape that we like. Oh, I love Shiva. Oh, I love Vishnu. Good for you. So we gave it different shapes, but the attributes were the same. All powerful, all knowing, all compassionate. And sounds so straightforward. Why do we do this? Why does it work? That's the most important. Why is this so engaging? You see, in a way, if I say, try and become more compassionate, you say, okay, Boy Scout movement. But I say, no, see, this Vishnu is all compassionate. We say, we relate to the idea of Vishnu and the stories of Vishnu or stories of Krishna and Ram. We love this idea. So, by in a way projecting this idea which are already within on an external God, we can then build relationship with this external God. So, suppose I love Ram, and Ram was always truthful and kept his word. And by focusing on Ram and by focusing on his particular aspiration, we try and embrace the same aspiration and engage them in our own lives, thereby becoming like Ram. So in a way, by projecting this external God and trying to build relationship, we want to become like them, becoming more empowered, more compassionate, more knowledgeable. So this is why we, just think, project it outward and then build relationship with it. That process of building relationship with this ultimate reality as a supreme personality makes us more spiritual. See, this is the trick that we use. We didn't think, sit down, let's use a trick. This just happened naturally. This is how Hinduism unfolded. So we started building relationship with all this. How do we build relationship? We of course show tremendous love. So that means we love these aspirations of all knowledgeable, all compassionate. So we show this kind of aspiration by saying devotion to this ultimate reality as a great super personality. In a way, this answers one of the questions that was posed. Why do we have all these gods and goddesses with either 3 eyes, Shiva, or 4 heads, Brahma, or Mother Goddess with 16 arms carrying all the weapons? Why do we have so many arms and heads and eyes and what? Because we are trying to, in a way, project the idea of somebody who is not just human, but who is superhuman. See, all these exaggerated features must become visible, so we know he's not just an ordinary person. Oh, yahoo, he looks 16 arms. So, in a way to engage with our idea that we are dealing with a superhuman, we give these exaggerated features to these gods and goddesses. Nothing wrong, provided you understand why we did it and why it is so useful and why is it something that is digestible and accessible to make us spiritual. You value it. So, for example, when I see a devout, Hindu worshipping Hanuman or Ganesh, I straightway see the depth. He is trying to become spiritual by focusing on the great aspiration that this particular deity is famous for or kind of well known for. So this is how we in a way become more spiritually enlightened by in a way focusing on an external being, a supreme personality who is in a way in a way kind of relating to the ideas that we already possess, the aspiration that we have. This is a wonderful way. Why is it so important? Why do I went through all these things? They all have different strengths and different weaknesses. Nirgun Nirakar, very difficult to relate to. How do you relate to it? Tell me. And yet Nirgun Nirakar is the only way Hinduism can respond to serious challenges that we face in the world today. Serious philosophic challenges. Like the second question there was, why does God create disaster? Now, if you believe in an ultimate reality, super personality, of course he should not create disaster of poor human beings being crushed, tsunami. How dare he do that? So poor God is in trouble straightway. But you focus on this principle-oriented Hinduism, esoteric Hinduism, Nirgun Nirakar. Underpinning is Nirgun Nirakar. Doesn't have things like compassion of human beings. It's just a principle that when it manifests, creates this world, the physical world and the living things, it pays a price. Things have a habit of hitting each other. Things have a habit of falling on top of each other. So you can't blame a god, oh yes, how dare you do the tsunami. When this Brahman expresses itself, it has to play ball with the material world that it in a way manufactures. That is how we can address serious philosophic challenge by focusing on Nirgun Nirakar. And yet at a human level, Sagun Sakar is highly, highly attractive. Majority human being, look, even though I took high philosophy or quantum physics, when I think of Sri Ramakrishna, I'm gone. He's a personality, with two arms and all that. So personality in a way allows us to engage with spirituality in a much more intense, much more personal, much more accessible and digestible manner. So please value all of them. They all have their own values.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for covering that topic so nicely, Jaybai. So viewers, perhaps you're here today because you are interested in Hinduism, but you are having challenges of how to reconcile the traditional things that you know about Hinduism with today's modern world. Perhaps you're here because you're just exploring Hinduism. You do know you don't need to be Indian to be a Hindu. So Hinduism is an all open, all embracing kind of movement. And on this channel, we are trying to attempt to debunk all the myths that are surrounding Hinduism and make it more accessible and approachable for people in today's times. So once again, thank you very much for joining us on the broadcast today. If you are enjoying the broadcast, give us a thumbs, give us a like, and share your comments in the share your questions in the comments area.
Just I saw a question pop up just now. So how do you relate to the avatars? Again, idea of God with form and attributes appearing and interacting with us. Now see, be very careful, my friends. We agree that this ultimate reality, the principle, can take on a human form and interact with us. We believe in that. And this idea of something, a great principle, descending, taking on a physical form, human form to interact with humanity is something very special to us. That is why we call them avatar, means avatar, coming down, giving up his godhead, the principle of Hinduism, to kind of embrace personality. So we hear these wonderful ideas. And of course, the two great avatars that we worship and we love are the ideas of Ram and Krishna. So again, we say this ultimate reality is Nirgun Nirakar, becomes Sagun Sakar and comes and plays with us. But be very careful. I keep warning you, my friends. These stories of Das Avatar is in the Puranic tales. So be very aware. Don't say, oh, this actually happened. So watch it. Avatars like Ram and Krishna are very digestible and accessible, understandable. But be careful with some of the other avatars.
So I'd like to say a quick welcome to Kedar Shinde watching us on Facebook, Kapadia Lalman, we've got Siva Das watching us from Ahmedabad, we've got Manish Gupta watching us from Ohio in USA, we've got Lani watching us from sunny Green Hill in Kentucky, USA, and we've got a few other viewers over on YouTube. We've got Rish, we've got Monica Kumari, Paula K. Good afternoon, Paula. You're a regular viewer on the channel as well. We've got Krishan Daliwal, Roy, Sandeep Verma, Shekhar, and many others. Now, normally I would just pick up the questions that you, the viewers, have been posing us, but I've got one question for you, Jay, by myself today.
Okay.
And the question is this. Many other religious movements have a prescriptive way of doing things, and they are very, I would say, not inclusivist. You either toe the line here or you are out of our religion. How does Hinduism view other religions?
Yes, you see, with kind of compassion, if I can use the word, we recognize that some of the traditions are so strongly prescriptively oriented and they become highly exclusivist. Does it mean they are all horrible monsters? As long as they continue to practice their own tradition using their own very fixed prescription and it suits their temperament, they've been following it for many generations, who am I to stop it? So I say, if they like a particular prescriptive way of progressing spiritually, saying, okay, pray so many times and do this and that, I say, if that works for you, my friend, carry on. I'm not here to stop you, to say, no, how dare you, don't be prescriptive. Sometimes prescriptive ways of approaching religion, etc. is very useful, but it is not compulsory. Please be careful. So, sorry about this, we get all this time. So, when somebody else is in a way focusing on this kind of highly prescriptive way of following a tradition, we welcome them, but we say do not enforce your particular prescriptive way on people of other tradition as well as no tradition. And the biggest group we have in the world today are people of no religion. So if I say, oh, I'm Hindu, and if you don't believe in Hinduism and this, you are going to go to hell or whatever, it doesn't work anymore. And these people are too wise. They're not going to be taken on for the ride with this kind of very kind of outlandish comments. So there are prescribed tradition. I wish them well, but let them progress to their destination without imposing their pathway on people of other religion, and more importantly, people of no religion. I'm telling you, majority humanity now, thinking youngsters today in the whole world, do not like this kind of prescriptive or any kind of religion, including Hinduism. They rather make sense of the world themselves and think for themselves and sort out their own human issues rather than get caught up with all this religious ideology. So this is the world we face. So we have to be aware of it and interact in that particular manner.
Brilliant. So I'd like to say welcome to Bidwan watching us from Odisha. We've got Roy S watching us from Singapore, and we've got Shival watching us from South Africa. Thank you for tuning in today. And we've got Gopakumar, another one of our regular viewers from India, and we've got Shona, and so on and so on. So
we're getting so many questions being
bombarded.
So
many,
bombarded.
bombarded.
We have to try and find the right one so that we can engage the greater number of viewers.
Great. So I'm going to go back to our list of questions before I come back to the ones of today. And the question that we've got today is, in the concept of Hinduism, well, in Hinduism, we don't have a concept of hell. Then where does Yama fit in?
Okay, see, I warned you. Always recognize colorful narrative for what they are. Do you think I personally believe there's someone in you, great person called Yama, saying, okay, when it's time for you to die, I come and collect you? It flies in the face of common sense. Anything that doesn't agree with your common sense or my common sense, I reject, straight away reject. So the idea of Yama as a great personality is of course mentioned in all the colorful storytelling, including the Upanishads, one of the Upanishads. But do I believe there's a real personality called Yama who is going around collecting souls? And if they collect the souls, what does he do with the souls? We don't have eternal hell. Where does he lock them up somewhere? What does he do? So you can see straight away it is colorful narrative to keep us on guard, saying watch it. Your time for death is here, and Yamaraja is waiting for you, and he might thump you for being such a naughty person. So if you see it as such kind of narrative, a colorful narrative to keep us in line, and in a way recognize it cannot be literally true, then you are safe. Our tradition says we believe in reincarnation. So the idea of reincarnation is that when you die, there's no Yam saying, okay, I smack you. You basically give up one body and then go into a kind of middle ground, and then finally find a new expression in a new body. That's called rebirth, reincarnation. So you're born again and you carry on your spiritual journey from where you left it off. And there is no eternal heaven and hell, and there is no Yam smacking you. Even though some traditions in Hinduism will say, yes, he's waiting for you. I don't believe so. I don't think so. It flies in the face of common sense. Suppose there's a tsunami and 100,000 people get killed or something. Do you think Yam is saying, oh, ding, 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 I collect all the 100,000? Come on. So grow up. Recognize the colorful narrative for what they are. They're useful. Even in the Kathopanishad, one of the powerful Upanishads, we have this lovely story of a young boy facing Yama, the king of death, and asking him very difficult questions. But here you can see the storytelling was purely to bring in the idea of death, an idea of what happens when we die, and how do we in a way gain, if you like this kind of permanent resolution to the human condition. That's Kathopanishad. But then they're bringing the Yama, kind of talking to a young boy called Nachiketa to bring out the philosophic idea. So we use it, but please take it with a pinch of salt.
Brilliant. So folks, if you're enjoying the questions, please feel free to share the broadcast today. The more we have on the broadcast, the better the quality of the broadcast will be. So we've got a couple of people who have asked different questions. I'm going to roll them out into one. And it's around the topic of, if you are spiritual, should you get married or not? The other part of it is, what do you think of religions that punish people in the LGBT community and those who don't pray and fast? I think that's a quick dig at Islam.
I know. I'm not here to vilify any religion. So, but the thing is this, first of all, the second part of the question.
Yes.
You see, there are some traditions very sticklers, saying one man, one woman, and you can't have two men, falling in love and etc. So there are some severe lobbies, strict lobbies in various religions, I won't mention by name, who are very much against this idea of gay and lesbian, etc. The Hindu tradition has never been like that. It is all, you see, but you will be surprised, since ancient times, he said there are three kinds of people, male, female, and Tritiya Prakriti, people of third gender, who don't fit in clearly as male or female. So they might be attracted to the same gender or might switch genders. So we always recognize them, and we never vilified them. We never say they're horrible, old people, monstrous people going to hell. We never talk like that. We recognize that they exist. In fact, in some of the cultures in India, Nishit Bhai, at the time of marriage, they'll invite the gay community to come and dance.
Yes. It is considered auspicious.
Auspicious. See, we were giving them dignity, saying this is the time for you to come and dance for us. So we never vilified them. We allowed them to exist in our society without punishing them. We never punished them. Do you know how the punishment started? Victorian Britain.
Yes.
The Victorian, because Hindus, India adopted all the Victorian legal system, and one of the legal things that they had in in UK at that time was punishing the gay community, punishing to death.
By death, yes.
So this world, the Victorian world, was very much fixed. Oh, horrible! This is unnatural. We must kill them if they do things like that. And we Indians, even though we are so open-minded and we had no difficulty, adopted this. Only I think in a couple of years back, Indian legal system has now stopped persecuting the gay people in India, thankfully, because we should have been the first ones to kick it out. So we have no difficulty with that. There are some religious communities very strongly against this. That's the second part of the question. The first part of the question, Nishit Bhai,
was that if you are a spiritually minded person, should you get married or not, or get hitched onto the normal sansar style of life?
Majority of human beings, again, people who are spiritually oriented, it's better for them to get married, bluntly. Because you can be spiritual in if you like, in this family surrounding. Sometimes it's better. Excuse me. So sometimes it's better to make spiritual progress in a family surrounding. Why? Because then you see you've got a little family to look after. So in a way you begin to try and live for them. Haven't you seen all the parents live for their children nowadays? Everywhere in the world, we kill ourselves for our children. So you're beginning to live for others in the family surrounding. But then say, don't be mean and just say me and my bachu and this is my life. Try and expand the idea of people you call your very own to be people who are not that closely related to you, maybe in your same community, maybe in the same culture. So try and expand the people you call your very own and try and relate to them. So you become spiritual in a gradual manner, your family first, then a greater community, and by living for greater good, you are becoming spiritual within the confines of a family life. Look, I am doing that myself. So I'm telling you this is an easier way. Becoming a monk, embracing a celibate lifestyle, joining a monastic order with all the strict disciplines that come with it, perhaps would not suit majority human beings. It wouldn't suit me, for example. So I would say leave it open. I mean, if somebody is so like Vivekananda, I can tell Vivekananda, get married. He said, go away, get lost. So if there are people who are hell-bent, quite keen to lead a celibate life as a monk's life and devote their whole life for the greater world, I say they are very special. But majority human beings, I would suggest, perhaps operating in a family circle is perhaps the most safer and easier way to progress spiritually.
So Ravi, I hope that answers your question, as well as Kedar Shinde, that was one of your questions. We have an interesting observation here by Gary. And Gary is saying out of the 10 billion people, what is it? He said we have, I don't know how many billion people we have got in the world today. He says, why do we only have 40 viewers on the channel today? Very interesting. Good observation.
Don't throw such pointed things in our face. There are total 7 billion human beings, roughly 7 billion, according to the last census. And Nishit Bhai and myself, we keep struggling, say, where are they? Nowadays, everybody's got these gizmos. Everybody, even in the villages, have these gizmos. So why don't they watch us? We are hopefully making very sensible comments about ideas of spirituality, about the deeper ideas of Hinduism, which relate to all human beings, not only Hindus in India, but worldwide. So we are doing our best. And then we end up by getting 45 people, whatever watching. The highest we've seen is about 58.
Having said that, not all is doom and gloom. I must appreciate you all viewers, because I was looking at the statistics today. When we started these broadcasts, when I started initially, we had 10,000 viewers on the channel. We now touched 40,000. We were just under 1 million views. We are now at 3.5 million. And if I share with you the figures of how many minutes they've watched on the channel, it is 16.7 million minutes watched on the channel, which means you, the viewers, are enjoying the content, you're sharing the content, you find it useful, and which is what makes us come back every week to help you get the information that you seek out
Can
there.
I add something, Anish? Look, the reason why we are doing so well on YouTube and getting such good kind of accolades is because of Nishit Bhai's wonderful work, as well as one of our editors called Jay Shankar.
Mm-hmm.
He puts in such a wonderful thumbnails and all these YouTube clips that even I say, I want to watch that. What's this thumbnail all about? So we have got a kind of team of wonderful helpers, mostly volunteers, who are helping us kind of promote our ideas in the social media, and we are doing reasonably well, as Nishit Bhai said. Even though this broadcast went by 50, by the time we reach home, it will be 2,000. They would have seen it on YouTube or Facebook or etc. So it grows very fast and it's shared very, very widely. We know that, but we are still greedy. We are looking for more. I'll tell you what else we are doing, Nishit Bhai. You see, we've got some wonderful clips that we produce for WhatsApp, and this offers a kind of very structured, rational, modern, contemporary and comprehensive vision of Hinduism. We've got beautiful material, but the material was still me, waving my arms, and it's a bit boring. Look, there's hardly any hair here. So what we did is we asked Jason to do a bit of magic. So what we are doing is we are putting bells and whistles on our WhatsApp. So all the WhatsApp comes now with wonderful kind of imagery at the start, say, wow, must watch this. And then also in the middle of the WhatsApp clips, we are putting lots of images and wonderful music, so that it's got bells and whistles to kind of attract the young, ordinary person. Yeah, this I must watch. Ding ding ding, what's going on? So this is going to be launched in about 10 days time. We are already preparing about 100 such clips with all these bells and whistles, and they will become broadcast as series of 1 to 100 clips on WhatsApp. So if you're not joined our WhatsApp, I suspect our WhatsApp, Nishit Bhai, I'm guessing, is impossible to know, it's going to a few million people by now, because I get such reaction from various people even on the street. So WhatsApp is getting around. But now this new set of WhatsApp we are preparing with all this colorful ting tong, perhaps will produce even greater participation and engagement with greater public, and hopefully not just Hindu public, general public, per people, not necessarily for India, for the whole world.
And thank you so much for the support I've been seeing. I saw a comment on the YouTube channel. Somebody is saying that even Ramakrishna had only a few followers, so don't worry. Just keep doing what you're doing.
No, it's nice to explore. Look, sometimes I feel frustrated. As I'm putting my, all my life force into this for the last 25 years to promote deeper vision of our tradition in a very structured manner. Why I'm not succeeding? And then I tell myself, look, my boy, you are nobody. You are a little diddler. And this great Ramakrishna, supreme great personality, highly comprehensive, spiritually experienced personality, and half a dozen youngsters called Narendra, Vivekananda, wandering around him. Nobody else paid any attention to him whatsoever. I said, so you are lucky. At least you got 50 people here.
So, folks, thank you so much. Now, as you know, at this point in the time, I normally throw Jay Bhai a googly. A question he has no idea I'm going to ask him. I'm trying to catch him out for the past 2 years, and I'm struggling to do that. And today's googly is actually courtesy of Monica Kumari. So her question is this, that what is the meaning of confidence?
You see, these are questions. It's interesting to take on these kind of issues. Let me just touch on something more, much more kind of comprehensive related to this question. Human beings, for example, all human beings, first of all, think about their own physical well-being. Understandable. They must be well fed. They must look after their own physical requirements. They might want to do exercises and have a healthy lifestyle. So well-being of the physical body is central. Of course, we know that. The second issue they will look at is say, what about my well-being for my future? So they'll be looking after their wealth issues. Again, nothing wrong. We must plan for the next few years, whatever. So human beings either look after their physical body, look after their future, look after the money. And the third thing they are now becoming very aware of is their mental health well-being. This is another aspect. So a lot of these issues that you are, how do you become more confident, is looking at your mental well-being. You must accept it. We all have this different dimension to us: a physical dimension, material dimension, and a mental dimension. So this idea of becoming more confident, how to become more confident, very nice thing to explore. You see, the thing is this: the only way you can derive tremendous confidence in yourself, and this is very important, is not just physical well. Suppose you are physically strong. Okay, I can beat up anybody. Nobody can beat me. Gives you a little bit of satisfaction. Suppose you have kind of material wealth, it's okay, I'm sorted out for the rest of my life, even my next 7 generations have been taken care of, I've sorted out. It gives you a little bit of satisfaction. The mental aspect, especially how do you become self-confident, how do you develop self-confidence, is a very important aspect of our mental well-being. Because we need that confidence to carry on with life's struggle. Life is a struggle. We sometimes forget it. It is a real, I mean, look, if you have gone through life, you know it is got lots of ups and downs, and very cancerous issues arise in our lives, all our lives. So developing confidence to face up to anything that's thrown at you is a very important thing that we must try to aspire to. Now here is about the physical well-being, the material well-being, but I'm now talking about the spiritual well-being. This is where it comes from. So it's not just some artificiality. You say, in order for you to develop confidence, they tell you these tricks. They say when you are giving a talk, you just participate in a public, and you're talking, addressing the public, and you feel nervous. They say, think that everybody in the public is naked. Then you say, oh, they're nuts. Look at them. They're yuck, ugly lumps of meat. And then you feel confident. I'm better than them. So these are the ploys they use. But I'm not going to give you this kind of silly ploy. But the idea is how do you develop that strong confidence for you to carry on and face up to challenges in life. Here it is not the physical, not some mental ploy that you employ. It is the spiritual aspect that you possess that will give you the highest, greatest confidence. Look, my friend, you see, if you begin to recognize your true divinity and dignity as something greater than what it appears to be, because we all feel, okay, I've got this limitation. My mental ability, my intellectual ability is only this limited. I can't think higher than that. So all this in a way kind of restricts you. Your physical abilities, I can't lift more than this, or I can't do more calculation than this. Physical and mental limitation in a way make you feel limited. Only when you develop tremendous confidence in yourself is focusing on the spiritual dimension you possess. It is very dramatic, it's very dynamic, and only when you begin to recognize your spiritual aspect, your spiritual dimension as the underpinning to you, you get tremendous self-confidence and dignity, incredible. And this is not just make-believe, it is real. I'll give you my example. You see, this my mentor Vivekananda, when he used to walk and give a lecture in the United States, one lady was in the audience, sat down and wrote. When he walked into the auditorium, she said, wow, he walked with the dignity, with the charisma of being the master of the universe. He was that confident. And yet the most tricky bit, she said, and yet he seemed to desire nothing from it. He's the master of the whole creation. He feels he's the master, and yet he doesn't desire. So if you want to really build up your confidence, recognize your dignity as a spiritual being, not some creepy crawly with limited abilities. You are the great spirit, you're percolating here. Focus on that aspect. And the way to kind of make sure you don't fall down or kind of lose your track of your spiritual dimension, you don't get attached to any worldly objective. If you get attached to worldly objective, when I give my lecture, everybody must applaud, and oh dear, the person in the front row was snoring. I'm in trouble straight away. But I don't care for that. I just do my job, and I'm not looking for any return from these worldly objectives. If your worldly objectives will cloud you, it will destroy your confidence. No, I tell you my true story. When I'm giving lectures at some of the top universities, etc., and if by mistake I look at somebody yawning, I'm finished. I'm saying, oh God, I'm sending him to sleep. So I smile. But the thing is, you must not allow that to happen. You mustn't allow your confidence to be undermined by worldly requirements, saying, oh, this did not, kind of charge of the audience, or this didn't, the newspaper didn't latch on to it. You shouldn't be bothered with that. Just do your job and don't get caught out with worldly objectives. Then you are safe. The confidence will grow from day to day.
There's so many things like this which are I suppose, you exercise from within. It's like anything you develop from regular exercise and maintenance. So things like self-confidence, self-worth, courage, discipline, these are all things you can work on yourself every single day, little by little, and know soon, I'm sure, you will be the most confident person we know. So I hope that answers your question, and I just wanted to say, Lenny, you made my day. Lenny says it's 9 a.m. in the US, and she's got to drag herself out of bed because you are my joy on Saturday, she goes. Thank you so much for the kind words. Now I've seen a couple of questions from youngsters in Hinduism, and the questions they're asking are related to two things. One is, what can a youngster do to contribute to Hinduism today? And number two is, there's a youngster who's about 15-year-old and is into the practice of meditation, and he's saying, how can I make it a successful thing, and how can I be conscious and aware 24/7?
Okay, first of all, the first question is very important. He's saying that how can a Hindu youngster help Hinduism?
Yes.
Look, I go to so many Hindu kind of youngsters meetings, etc., HSS and RSS and all that, and they say, dharma ni raksha, you must do, protect your religion, because then religion will protect you. They keep throwing it in my face. And my question to them, again I'm repeating this, is here. How can you protect something that you not understood yourself? Tell me. So I want to protect someone, but what are you protecting? You must come to understand that. And my sad news is, many of these youngsters who are worked up about Hinduism, protect and promote, when I ask them a simple question about Hinduism, they don't have any answer. They just kind of blanked out. So I'm saying, look, if you want to protect or promote something that you love, in your heart of heart, it's something very useful, very powerful, not just for yourself, but for the greater world. You know that is your tradition, very powerful, very dynamic. Now, if you want to protect and promote it, how do you do it? First, understand it yourself. And majority, I'm telling you, I'm so sad. They can't, we just discussed about the idea of ultimate realities with form and without form, and how we reconcile and all that. Simple things like that. They can't. They will think we are, polytheists. We have many gods. We have. They are that basic. They don't have the depth of their own understanding of their own tradition. How can they protect and promote it? So my thing, my friends, these 100 WhatsApp clips we are producing, they are structured, rational, modern, contemporary, and comprehensive, not sectarian. These 100 clips, I'm telling our parents, when we start projecting them, start sending them out on WhatsApp clips, please save them on your phone. Of course, distribute them first and then save them on your phone, because these 100 clips are the resource. 100, maybe 3-minute clips, but that 300 minutes will hold the hand of your youngster when he wants to understand what is it he's protecting, what is the nature of the thing he's protecting. So these clips are the resource for them. It's meant especially for the youth. So we tell the adults, watch it, share it with all your friends and family, but also store it in your memory. They don't take up that much room. Store it, and whenever a youngster wants it, look through these clips. And the reason why we are using WhatsApp more than perhaps Facebook or YouTube is this. WhatsApp is very versatile. Sometimes I say, watch this YouTube clip for half an hour. People don't have the money, the data to watch half an hour clips, or the patience even. But if they get a 3-minute clip, they say, yes, that was sensible, good stuff. So, and WhatsApp can be shared. It's like Ramban, not Ramban, what is called? From 1 it becomes 100, from 100 it becomes 10,000. It multiplies. If it is good, if the material is potent, it will multiply dramatically. You can't stop it. It won't die. It will be in the system unless everybody deletes it. So it doesn't die. It keeps sprouting. So provided this WhatsApp gets in the system, it's not just India, throughout the world. If this WhatsApp gets in the system, I tell you, it will be a major thing that this little group here will have achieved.
Brilliant. What about the second question about the 15-year-old?
Meditation.
Who's in meditation.
Okay.
And he wants to know what can he do best at his age to get the most out of the experience.
Indeed. First rule, my friend, is this. If you are sincere and serious, this idea of focusing on yama, niyama, the initial requirement, disciplines, please try and follow them to the letter. That's first part. They're not easy. Like being truthful, being celibate are not easy things for modern youngsters. They are very tough cookies. So focus on those, because they'll hold your hand. That gives the confidence and the strength to progress in your meditation practice. The next thing I would say, because I'm using my own experience, if you like a deity, ancient or modern, that you are very highly attracted to, please keep that deity in focus. While you are meditating with open eyes, put an image or a picture or whatever in front of your eyes, that will hold your hand. These are tried and tested personalities who will say, come, I'll take you forward. Or if you are closed your eyes and meditating, put them in your heart and worship them in your heart. They will in a way inspire you and take you forward. But it says disciplines are important, but then also have a point of focus. I would say focus on some personality, that we all have personality in our lives that we love. So that in a way allows you to focus naturally without being any artificiality. Oh, focus on the flower or focus on the bright light. I would say anything that's automatically attractive to you regarding which is called spiritual foundation, focus on that and implant it in your heart and worship Him there. That will take you far, very fast. They hold your hand. Don't underestimate them. Even though they've passed away, they've got the power to lead you forward. This is my experience.
So, welcome to Smita Pujari watching us from the UK, Firas watching us from Dubai. We've got Buren, we've got Rajan Vaidya watching us from Australia. Rajan's asking a quick question related to this topic. He's saying, how do we relate meditation to enlightenment and samadhi?
Okay. I can just say, somebody else just asked, they said, from the age of 10, I've been eating meat, and now I'm 15, so what will happen to me? Nothing will happen to you, my friend. It's not what you put in your mouth that this chisels your character. The character you develop for yourself, spiritually oriented, is the thing that will hold your hand. Food is secondary, okay? I'm not saying I'm promoting meat eating, but I'm saying don't get too worked up about it. The other question you asked me, Nishabhai, just now.
Yes.
Yes, sorry.
The question was, how do we relate meditation to enlightenment and samadhi?
Okay. Look, the first thing, a lot of people ask me, I've been asked this question saying, what's the difference between Savikalpa Samadhi and Nirvikalpa Samadhi? Now, these are esoteric questions. They're saying you can think of ultimate reality as super personality and encounter them. This is called Savikalpa Samadhi, means you see a form that attracts you and you go close to the form, Savikalpa Samadhi. And the other is Nirvikalpa Samadhi, no forms there. So then how do you link? See, they ask me this kind of esoteric question. I say, my friend, get started. Start your progress in spirituality by first getting at least one glimpse that you are not the body. So start with the basics. So when the basics become real in your life, then all these questions will automatically be answered as you progress in your spiritual journey. So don't get too caught up with samadhi and what will happen. So first what happens? First thing that will happen is, first you begin to start losing sight that you are the body. And this happens through pranayama. If you are successful in pranayama, means able to in a way regulate the prana that's driving that's your life force, you can get a handle on it, you can really suddenly find in one instant, I'm telling you again from experience, in one moment instant you can rise up about the idea I'm the body. You know the body is very important, yet you are not the body, you can say, yahoo! And that is the beginning, you are the prana, the life force is driving the body. So that transition itself gives you tremendous jolt. That is the beginning of a spiritual journey. Once you get that jolt, you are not the body, but the life force that is driving your body, see the transition. You should actually experience it, not just listen to Mr. Lakhani, actually experience it, and that gives you such a big jolt. Then the progress will happen naturally. You will progress automatically from that state to higher states. So then you get pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. It's a long way to go, my friend. Get started, that's the main thing.
Brilliant. Welcome to the Broadcast Coffee, and we've got our good old friend Jonathan Tater watching us from Arkansas in the US. We've got Karthi, we've got Tashi Lamu, we've got Kumaril, we've got Onto Roy, Rakesh D, Subhan Shah, and many others.
See, one question from Dubai. Somebody said, this law of karma is confusing me. I mean, because this is again, sorry to say this, the Hindus have not understood the law of karma in its complexity, and they get caught out. They think when things go wrong, the karma is kind of catching up, and how to destroy your karma and cut off your karma. And I've seen lectures by various personalities saying, how do you snuff out your karma, etc. Look, karma is not something you can snuff out. It is just law of cause and effect that influences the whole of creation. Everything has got this linkage of cause and effect. You cannot snuff it out. But you need to rise above it. How do you rise above it? By understanding it in its maturity. So what's the maturity? When things suddenly go wrong, don't say, oh, I deserve my past life karma catching up. Recognize that a lot of things which are completely out of your control who are going to come and hit you. Like the physical force, they're not waiting, oh yes, he did bad karma, let me thump him. There's no such mechanism. So a lot of things gang up. Other human beings, they're not under your control. They're, I want to do this, I want to drive, I'm drunk and I'll kill somebody. So a lot of other individuals are going to influence what happens to you, like it or not. It's not because of your karma. Karma may be little thing that's affecting you, how I behaved in this morning. So once you recognize the complexity, then you don't get frightened by the law of karma, saying, oh, I'm in mess because of this and that. Nothing. So rise above karma. Understand the law of karma properly, then you can rise above it. Don't get frightened by it. Then you can play with it.
So one of our viewers, Mary Sharkey, says that if I had the choice to meet and talk with anybody in the world, it would be Sri Lakhani. I've learned so much from you over the years. So she's got a question. And her question is this, that could you explain what Sri Ramakrishna meant when he said that anybody who cries for God is blessed?
You see, it's easy for us to shed jugs of tears for material wealth, for social issues. We shed jugs and jugs of tears. These are Ramakrishna's words. We've got a habit of shedding so much tears for this material world, other individuals, our own family aspirations. We kill ourselves for them. We cry. From childhood we've been crying like this. So then Sri Ramakrishna said something very good. He said, whenever you see somebody, and this is true, And whenever Ramakrishna says that, I put my hands up and say, no argument, I don't debate, I don't discuss, I'm gone. I'm like some of these Abrahamic traditions, I'm fixated on the poor man. So Ramakrishna says, when you see somebody shedding tears for God, this is not minor, because it won't happen normally. How would you, suppose I don't know who is God, how can I shed tears for him? I've heard about him, I've read the kathas, I've done the Puranic stories about gods and goddesses. How can I possibly shed tears? It will be artificial, wallowing in sentimentality even if I do it. But if I really have this tremendous hankering, tremendous attraction to some super personality that makes me kind of, want to catch hold of that person with such intensity that tears flow. When you see somebody crying for God, that person is blessed. That means already his journey has started. He's already embarked on his spiritual journey. So but again, it's not artificial, because the Hindus have this problem. I mean, especially when you see the kathas, and the kathakara wind up the audience, and they are crying, oh, look at poor Dashrath. So they have this habit of winding up, wallowing in sentiment. I'm not talking, these are not tears for God. These are just winding up your sentimentality, soap opera stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about somebody in his quiet, in the quiet of the night, sitting on his bed, cross-legged, and saying, where is this God that I'm talking? I've heard about him. Why can't I catch him? Why can't I see him? And this real tears, in a way, tears kind of flow out of his eyes, saying, I want him, I want him. And when that is genuine, that is the beginning of his spiritual journey, and that journey cannot be. Once the tears he starts shedding tears for God, his journey is already embarked. He's going to definitely get a reward for all his kind of this love will draw him towards God, or draw God towards him. This is what Sri Ramakrishna meant.
So we are coming now to the last question of the broadcast for today. This is from somebody called Rudra Pratap Singh, who is watching us on YouTube, and I'll put a little context around this. So westernization has actually broken down the way youngsters today look at Hinduism. They cannot relate to it, they are belittled, they are attacked every point of time, they are bullied because the Westerners keep saying things like, oh, you believe in many gods, you have the concept of the caste system, or various little things they will pinpoint and bully the youngsters of today. Now, we spoke about one of the things is that you must arm yourself with the knowledge of how to respond to these kind of things. And one of the places to start is the WhatsApp clips. The other place is to come to the YouTube channel we've got, youtube.com/Hindu Academy. Look at the playlist we've got there and absorb the knowledge that Cheba has shared over the years and arm yourself with it. But this is what Rudra Pratap says. He says, westernization has destroyed Indian culture, and when I talk about Hinduism and spirituality in class, all they do is laugh at me and bully me. What can I do?
Okay, the thing is, look, you're dealing with a group that is so anti-Hindu, there's no way you can win. In fact, I'll tell you, once I was invited, I go to give lots of talks at lots of different venues. I was invited to go to a talk to an Abrahamic tradition, and I was armed. I said, okay, when they throw one, if they're trying to attack me, I attack back. I'm very good because I know their tradition as well, and their strength and their weakness. I can respond dramatically. So I was prepared to go, and then one person said, Mr. Lakhani, please don't go. I've been there before. These are like howling dogs. So however clever you may be, however rationally you present yourself, they will howl you down. They'll just shout at you, scream at you, vilify you, curse you, say rude words to you. They will not listen to you whatsoever. So my friend, if you're in this situation where you're dealing with people who are already so anti and are going to howl you down, pull you down, there's no way you can have a proper conversation with them. If that happens, walk away. That's my trick. Walk away. Why should you undignify yourself? Walk away. That's what I do sometimes. Now, but if you arm yourself correctly, I'm telling you truthfully, this thing that we vilify secular lobby can destroy Hinduism. In fact, it is not true. According to me, this was a necessary evolutionary transition required by modern India too. India had to come out of a rut. So this idea of being kind of overpowered by Western thinking, Western sciences, Western rational thinking, secularism, etc., we were hit by it. But I'm saying, look, as we are a sturdy, very solid enterprise, we can roll up our sleeves, and the challenges we face can be turned into opportunities. I'll give you an example. If I was just, kind of blessed to just speak Hindi or Sanskrit, etc., I'll be talking to perhaps a small number of people in India. as I have been now given the tools of talking in rational terms, in scientific terms, using English, international language, the same thing that was trying to undermine me has now empowered me to take the deeper vision about our tradition to the greater world. See, challenges become opportunities. So if you think like that, and don't get worried about small group kind of trying to run you down. Just walk away, basically. There's no need. Suppose the dog is howling at me. I don't howl back. I just walk away. So if they're howling at you, just walk away and carry on. But the thing is, you will find the right audience. But the thing is, look, our tradition is so mature, so magnanimous. Even the challenge that come from science, we have the best response. I'm not exaggerating. In fact, the way science will come out of its cul-de-sac in quantum and consciousness is through our tradition. I'm waiting to rub it in. So they are stuck and we have the answer. So we are not frightened by science. In fact, we say science will take you forward. Now you are stuck, aren't you? We'll take you forward. That's the confidence I have about our tradition. So don't lose heart. You have something very powerful in your inheritance. You just have not explored it properly, understood it properly. You see it and see how empowered it makes you. I enjoy all this taking in challenges from the Christian theological colleges, and I go and whack it in and I enjoy it and I smile. Yoo-hoo. At one stage, I tell you, they say, Mr. Lakhani, you like Christ. But then Christ said, you have to join him, otherwise you will be Christian, otherwise you're going to hell. This is terrible. I said, my friend, this is the language. I said, it appears that the love and understanding of Christ is better on this side of the platform than on that side of the platform. Look, me telling the Christian theologians, and they were godsmacked, they were right in the face. Because they could see that I have the real love and understanding, the depth of Christ's teaching. And they just go to the paper saying, yes, you did the St. John's Gospel. So they're stuck with that. I'm not. So I can think deeper and see a deeper vision about what Christ is about. This ability to kind of respond in a robust manner is something that you should develop, and it will come naturally. Once you start to look, I had gone through the process. Initially I was also taken back, and slowly the confidence started to develop, and I can take anybody on happily, and I'm looking to take on people like Richard Dawkins or Sam Harris in days to come.
What I would suggest is, Rudra, if you're really, really keen about doing this, then what you need to do is find a group of people who are along a similar path that you are on. Go join the merry band. And then you'll be in a group of people that will support you and enhance what you're doing. So that's the best advice I can give you. Folks, now we're coming to the end of the broadcast. We've had a really good one today. I'm really enjoying the broadcast sessions myself today. And what I'd like you to do is, remember, if you would like to ask a question, and you have asked a question, we've not answered it, we will get around to it next week or the week after. So we always start off with a list of questions. Do you have any final words,
No,
Jayben?
I think it was one of the best sessions we've done, not because of us, Mr. Bai, but the idea that the reaction or the warmth with which we are kind of in a way engaging with our viewers is the most, kind of way enhancing thing that makes us feel worthwhile. The whole thing has been worthwhile.
So I like to end the sessions with a quote from Swami Vivekananda, and this quote is for you, Monica Kumari. It says, "You cannot believe in God until you believe in yourself." So with that, I'd like to wish you all a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing you all in the coming weeks ahead. Remember, share, like, subscribe, and enjoy the broadcast. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.